Okay, hey guys, how you going? Welcome. We are officially live. Welcome to creating and refining financial SOPs in your online coaching business. You could actually use these strategies for any kind of business or even for your personal life. The author from Switch to Millionaire. In fact, a lot of what I'm going to be sharing with you today is from that book. And I'm excited to spend the next 45 minutes with you, being able to add value to you guys as well. So we've got the Zoom happening. If you're on Zoom, feel free to say hi, comment in the chat box, say hi, where in the world you are, what kind of business you have. And we've got the Facebook live stream happening. If you're watching on the Facebook live, comment if you're watching live or replay, and feel free to interact in there as well if you had the Facebook live going as well. And you might be watching the replay of this on YouTube. Thank you again for joining us. If you're not on my YouTube, we put all of our videos, podcasts, webinars, masterclasses, shorts, long form, all of our content goes onto YouTube. Be sure to head over to YouTube, search Jason Grossman, and there's like 900 videos on there now for you guys. But if you're an online coach, consultant, agency owner, everybody's talking about sales and marketing. And yes, these are important for growing a business, but it's one thing to grow a business. It's another thing to sustain a business. We have a couple of programs. I've been business coaching online for 13 years. One of them is designed to show you guys how to launch and build to $20,000 months. Lisa on Facebook Live, how you going? Anastasia, Michelle on Zoom from UK, Stacy from Florida, Terry, Perth, Western Australia, a very special guest today as well. So my goal is to empower you guys to build to 20,000, 50,000, 100,000 plus months, and also be able to sustain that. I was a self-made millionaire the first time by 31, lost it all over about a 2-week period, had to start all over again. So it's one thing, creating and achieving success, creating and achieving the money. These are the easier parts. Keeping it is another thing entirely. So today is about the basic foundational financial SOPs. What is SOP? It stands for Standard Operating Procedure. Or the financial systems in your business, one of the 6 legs that we talk about on being able to structure your business and company in a way to begin to save tax and get ahead, to be able to create financial freedom, improve your financial literacy, and grow from there. We live in 2 worlds, the inner world of thoughts, feelings, values, beliefs, the outer world of our environment, people, traffic, the weather. So we live in 2 worlds. There's 2 worlds of money, the inner world, the inner game of money, and the outer game of money. So in our programs, we focus on both. The inner game of money, of raising your unconscious money blueprint, which is another training. Today is focusing on the external or the outer game, how to win the outer game of money. I have one main intention, that's to equip you with the basic fundamentals today to begin to create financial freedom. Who has the goal or the dream being able to create financial freedom? By a show of hands, we'd like to be able to do that. By the way, if you do find this information useful, feel free to share this on your Facebook or with friends or clients as well. Quick disclaimer before we officially get started. I'm not a qualified accountant, bookkeeper, solicitor. I'm not here to give you solicited advice and tell you what to do. I'm simply here as somebody that's had a lot of ups and downs and had a lot of success with finances now. And I'm just simply going to share with you what I, and you can choose to take from that what you will. Of your own accord, that's on you, what you choose to do, okay? So that's the disclaimer quickly before we get started. We do also have a very special guest with us today. Super excited to have Terry Vincent with us today, who we'll bring on shortly. And a bit about today, again, if you're an online coach, consultant, agency owner, we are going to use that context for this. But this information we're about to share with you, both Terry and I, can be used for any human being on the planet. If you make money, want to make money, and want to get ahead financially, then you can use these strategies. Because as Terry and I were discussing yesterday or the day before, is that the key to getting ahead in your personal finances is to treat your personal finances like a business. So again, if you have any questions, by the way, feel free to post them in the Zoom chat or the Facebook Live or the YouTube. I will be more than happy to answer them. So we're just going to dive straight in. As we get started, a little bit about today is, first of all, I'm going to share with you some what's called presuppositions or financial paradigms for success. So some basic tips or habits that I would suggest that you begin to create in your life to get ahead financially. Who wants to get ahead financially? Yeah, number one. Number two, I'm going to talk to you about how we automate our finances in a way to get ahead. We're going to talk about how I structure my company and the pay system and how I pay myself. I'm going to talk a little bit about accounting and bookkeeping. And Terry actually has a background in bookkeeping and finances, so we'll be able to touch on that as well. And then we're also going to talk about the four main financial reports: cash flow projections, budgeting, profit and loss, and balance sheet. And I'm actually going to share my screen, show you some examples. And for those that stay to the end, I'm going to give you some free resources to get more organized and get more ahead financially than ever before. And you're going to have real strategy that you can implement easily every day into your life right from now. Okay. I remember my mentor once said, we'll start with a metaphor. I love metaphors. My mentor once said to me, he said, this is a great metaphor for the difference between financially free people and broke people, people stuck in the matrix, if you will. Quick question to each of you, and this is a metaphor. It's not just the superficial example, but this is relative to all things in life. So I want you to remember the last time that you went to a restaurant and you walked into the restaurant, you sat down and you picked up the menu. What's the first thing you looked at on the menu? What is the first thing you guys looked at when you sat down to look at the menu? Who would agree that it was the price? Most people, 99% of people, walk into a restaurant, when they pick up the menu, first thing they look to is price. Now, if you're not consciously aware of this, I encourage you to pay attention next time you walk into a restaurant. What a financially free person does, an abundant mindset person does, is they walk in, the healthiest meal. See, so that's a great reflection of values. That's what we're talking about here. Lisa looks for the healthiest meal. And not only financial abundant, but health abundant and rich mindset in both contexts. I love that. What a financial abundant and a health abundant person will do is walk in, sit down, pick up the menu, and the first thing they look at is the food and drink that they want to order. I never look at the price of a menu. I took my partner to a restaurant 6-7 weeks ago. We felt like a bottle of Dom Perignon. We walked out, went to pay the bill, and the bill was nearly $1,300. It was a beautiful romantic night. Whether it's 1,200, 12,000, 100. Now, yes, we want to be frugal. Okay, if you don't know what frugal means, it means good with money. But also you want to be in a position where, as a metaphor for life, that when you move through your everyday, metaphorically, are you looking at what you want, or you're looking at the price? Because when you look at the price and you start saying things, well, I can't afford that, the brain and your brain goes, and the universe goes, okay, right? So what we focus on, we attract. When you think about bills, what happens? You get more bills, right? We all know this intellectually. So that's really a metaphor for this. I want to begin to equip you with the right paradigm to be able to shift your internal and external habits around money. So I'm going to start with 8 very basic tips that most of you will know to really set the pre-frames, the presuppositions rather, for the right mindset. Would you agree that somebody making $1 million a year has a very different mindset to somebody making 100,000 a year? Would you agree that somebody making 10 million a year has a very different mindset? So our belief systems are a huge part of that, and our habits, internal and external. So when you watch closely with what I'm about to share with you through this session, and Terry as well, is you'll notice that almost all of these elements are habits. They're either internal or external habits. Your money habits is what will create and attract your money abundance or scarcity or lack of. The beliefs around money internally, and then your external habits. What are your good habits? What are your bad habits? Meaning, what are the habits that bring in more money? What are the habits that get rid of money? So here are some habits I believe as a financially free person or a rich mindset person do you want to focus on. I will say this before we dive in, as we officially get started. I want to help you guys. I want to help you create financial freedom. So I'm going to share with you at the end, for those that stick to the end, how Terry and I can personally work with you. We're going to choose just a couple of people. We're going to make a ridiculous offer for just 2 or 3 people where you can work with us personally, and we'll actually help you step by step go from where you are now to creating financial freedom. That's what we're going to, if you stay to the end. Also got some free resources. So let's dive into these tips. Anastasia, yep, awesome. So the first habit I believe is the number one most important habit. If you don't create this first habit, this number one habit, you're never going to get ahead financially. It's very simple. It's so simple, it's insulting to the intellect. And it's spend less money than you earn. But most people spend more than they earn. They make $1,000, they spend $1,200, they max out their credit card, they're spending more than they earn. You can never get ahead if you're spending all your money. The problem is we're conditioned growing up. Growing up, I was the eldest of 10. There was 4 of us in the household before I was kicked out of home as a teenager. And because I was the eldest, every 2 weeks, we were really poor, right? Home brand sausage sandwiches, home brand minute noodles, stuff like that. Really poor. At Christmas, we would be we would have charities donate hampers to us at Christmas. We were poor. We've all got those stories. It's not, I'm not poor me. I'm just saying that that's how it was. But every 2 weeks, my mum would get the dole, a government paycheck, and she'd take me shopping, and we would not go home until she spent all of her money. So I picked up this belief that, hey, when you get money, you got to do what? You got to spend it all. Not only that, that on the way back, mum would have a few gold coins left and she'd give it to me as a reward for helping her. But what's the belief that I picked up? Not only do you spend all your money, but if you do, you get a reward. This is crazy. And imagine how that impacted and affected my 20s until I worked it out about 29, 30. And even now, I'm aware of this, but it's so deeply ingrained with me that I have a reframe, Terry, you'll appreciate, which is I allocate all my funds, which I'll share with you shortly. I've got to allocate every dollar. All of my money is intentional. I have an intention for all of my money, and it has a purpose. Because you're making enough right now. Whether you're making $550, 5 million, you're making enough. How do I know you're on the call? Now, you want more, but you've got to choose what enough is, right? And most people are not doing that. Number 2 is you've got to create the habit of paying yourself first. You're paying everything else and everyone else first. Well, I got to pay my bills first. Well, you know, I had people say to me all the time, and this is my opinion, this is what I found works really well. Because I was in 2018, when I lost my first business, I went from an income of 22,000 a week in my pocket, every week in my pocket, to an income of $297 a week, Aussie, and into $218,000 bad debt. I'm talking about mortgages and stuff. I'm talking about bad debt, right? 218 grand. And so for me, I was working out what is the fastest way to pay off my debts, but also get ahead. If you're putting all of your money into just paying off your debts, this is what happens. So I've been working with people around money for 13 years. And often I'll say, what's your biggest goal? And Terry would have heard this. What's your biggest goal financially in the next 12 months? And how often have you heard this, Terry? To pay off all my bills and debts, to be debt free. Now, that's a great goal. I'm not saying don't have it, but here's the problem. If your biggest goal is to be debt free, what does it mean you're worth? It means your worth is $0. So you're telling me your biggest goal in the year is to be worth 0. So you've got to find a balance between paying yourself and paying others, including bills. So number 2. Number 3, you can set up your business in a way where your business or company pays 0 income tax. Now, again, disclaimer here. That's not my promise to you. I'm not guaranteeing that. I'm just saying with the right accountant, the right support, the right structure, it's possible. And it's what most the really wealthy, really successful do. Number 4, Terry and I were speaking about this. I know Terry agrees with this as well. Cash flow comes first. Cash flow is king. Too many people are broke trying to create net worth and build equity. I had a mate who bought 3 properties. He had 3 mortgages, 3 properties on paper, multi-millionaire, but he borrowed money from me every couple of weeks to buy food. He's like, in 30 years, I'll be set up. Like, dude, in 30 years, you're going to be 75. So cash flow first, always cash flow. We're building a business to create this surplus of cash flow. Then we can take some of those profits and put it into investments. So that surplus makes us money. So we create a machine that creates cash flow. We take that cash flow, we move to number 5, and we have that surplus make us more money. So rather than using our time to make money, we have our money make us more money, okay? And build equity. Number 6, this is more of a belief and opinion. I'll be honest, when something's my opinion, I share it. Ditch your credit card. Now, a couple of things here. Everybody's different with money. Some people are great, some people not so much. Some people are great at savings, not so much. If you're terrible with a credit card and you have a credit card, how is it going to help you get ahead financially if you have a tool that literally inspires and motivates you to get into debt? So I don't personally have any credit cards. I have debit cards, so I can pay for stuff online, all that. And I don't spend money I don't have. It's just a habit that I committed to about 9, 10 years ago. Once you're financially free, do it. But for those people I work with personally that trust me, if they're in debt and they're not getting ahead and they're struggling, I get them to cut up their credit card. But Jason, it increases my credit rating. Here's the thing about that. Who would like to buy property? If you want to buy property, you've got a $10,000 limit on your credit card. Even if there's nothing owing, that 10 grand will go against your borrowing capacity. So it's something to think about as well. I just don't think in today's day and age that there is any need for someone to have a credit card that isn't already. Once you're financially free, you got plenty of money, sure. But while you're in that process of creation, I would ditch the credit cards. That's my personal belief. Number 7, remove yourself from the equation. Automate your finances. We're going to talk about that as well. So you don't have to do everything yourself. It's automatically happening on autopilot. Like if you want to save and you can save $100 a week, don't be responsible for that personally. Set up an automatic debit where it comes out every week on a set day and it gets put into an account that doesn't even show on your net banking, on your online. So it's out of sight and it just happens on autopilot. And number 8 is hire a bookkeeper and an accountant. You're broke, right? Or you believe you're broke, money's tight, start with the bookkeeper and then go from there and then get the accountant. But at the very least, I encourage everybody to get a bookkeeper as soon as possible because it's a bigger job than people realize, as Terry will agree, monitoring and tracking our finances, yeah? So there's some financial freedom tips, some presuppositions as we dive in. I feel like Terry will agree with most of those. At least, how many was it? 6, 8. At least 7 of the 8, Terry will probably agree with, right? So here is my personal structure with what I've created with the company. So my company does double 6-figure months right now. My company is called Quantum Health and Technologies. I have 4 registered businesses within the company. They're individual entities within the company. So when you register a company, you can register businesses within the company, depending on the structure, right? And for most people, you don't necessarily need that. So the awesome thing is that when you register as a company in Australia, you can do it for about $500-600 Aussie bucks. It's probably similar over in the States and UK and so forth. When you register as a company and you work with an accountant on setting up the right structure for you, and it'll be different based on the accountant, different on you and what your intention and goals are. When you set up in the right way, your company will pay no income tax. When you set up in the right way, you know, most of the largest companies will do that. Now, there's still taxes, but there's ways that you can avoid. You know, let's say that you're making $20,000 a week, and all that $20,000 goes into expenses, your wage, or taxes, GST. Then it doesn't make any profits. If there's no profits on the books, then there's no income tax, right? So something you can talk to an accountant about. So what I personally do is I've registered a company, and I encourage all coaches, consultants, and agency owners to do that, even if you're a small business. Oh, Jay, so we've got 2 clients. I would, if you have the goal of building to $100,000 months, I would do now what I think like a 7-figure coach and do what a 7-figure coach does now. Because in your mind, as Jim Rohn used to say to Tony Robbins that when you have a money clip, put your $100 bills on the outside and put the small ones on the inside, because it's that perception of it's about that perception. So you want to position yourself internally and externally as a 7-figure coach, 7-figure business owner, 8-figure business owner, whatever it is. So I, you know, in Australia, once you're making 75,000 a year income, you need to be GST or goods and services tax registered. But I encourage people to do it immediately, even if you don't have to, because that just automatically assumes that, hey, I'm going to be making 75 grand a year very quickly, so let's just do it. Now, some people disagree with that, but it's a mindset thing, not necessarily a structural thing, right? Now, here is the kicker. So I've registered this company and have separate entities within the company, but you'll probably just have the one. There's different ways to set up, you know, with trust and so forth. Talk to an accountant about it. Get advice from an accountant to structure that. Like going on my live here. Hey guys, just joined us on the live. My live's going weird. I go here. Cool. Any questions? Just ask, by the way. Lisa, Jesse, guys, how you going? Okay, cool. Yep, cool. And so what I personally do is I want to streamline things and automate everything. So a lot of coaches, and some of us more successful than I am and make more money than I do, haven't had any real experience in running a traditional business or a big business. I was blessed with the opportunity to be a part of running 14 health clubs, you know, over a $200 million a year business, be a part of financials, branding and branding procedures, OH&S, all the boring stuff, Terry, I'm sure you're aware of. But the important stuff for sustaining a large business, right? And so every large company in the world uses a direct debit system in the service industry without fail. I've never seen one that doesn't. But a lot of coaches, especially in the high ticket realm, will say, hey, take your 20 grand, 50 grand up front. But what's the problem? You might be able to relate to this. Because one month you make 20 grand, next month you make nothing, next month you make 50 grand. How do you sleep well at night? being able to do that. If you want to make a living online and thrive online, then you need to be able to do this. Imagine if you knew every week how much income you're going to make 3 months in advance and what your expenses were, and you balanced your books in advance. Meaning, imagine if you knew 3 months in advance on a spreadsheet exactly what your income is based on current clients and what your expenses are. And you can balance your books in advance. Who would agree? So I want personally the bulk of my business's income to be direct debit. So if you're one of our clients, all of our clients pay weekly in advance for their virtual assistant services, the business coaching services, or whatever the services are. The direct debit pays us in one lump sum every week. 20 grand, 40 grand, 50 grand, 50 grand every week. Now, by getting this one lump sum into our company account, which goes into our company account, what that allows is it makes the bookkeeper's job easier. I'm sure Terry will agree. The less transactions there are, the easier it is for a bookkeeper to use Xero or whatever platform they're using. Less time makes the accountant's job easier. It also makes forecasting easier. So when we take payments, we ask people if they want to pay direct debit. You can use a company called gocardless.com, or if they want to pay up front. We do take upfront payments through Stripe, but what I do is I've created a system where we forecast our direct debit income and we can forecast in advance, balance our books in advance. And that direct debit income pays for all of our business expenses, investing, and my personal wages. What does that mean? Any upfront payment we do get, which we get, weekly, is cream. And that's a bonus. That means every week we're making more than our forecast without fail. And it's a really powerful system. Almost every large business in the world I know in the service industry does that. So I've set up the company in a certain way, talked to my accountant about how we can have the business run at no profit. Bulk of our clients are on direct debit, some upfront. Okay, so every Friday our clients pay. Every Wednesday afternoon, the bulk of our money goes into our account. We get some Stripe coming through, of course, as well. 4 or 5 grand a week probably right now. A bit more last week, I think. Okay, and then I pay myself a wage. So it depends. Again, you can talk to your accountant about how to do it, but once you make more money, you can set up in a certain way where you set yourself up as an employee or a managerial position, or even the official COO like I have. And it even has superannuation and sick pay and all of that as well, and have a set income. And because the company's paying that, that's a company expense. Okay, in the beginning with a small business, you can probably just pay yourself a weekly wage and call it drawing. Again, for these details, I'll talk to your accountant or bookkeeper or both. So then once I pay myself a wage, I pay the business expenses. Then once we do that, the surplus gets automated into my weekly finances for investing or taxes, which I'll talk about. All of the surplus gets used for expansion of the business. So advertising, we're putting about 2.5, 3 grand a week into ads right now and expanding fast, and or investing. Okay, and we track everything with not the help. There's always a typo in there with me. We track everything with the help of a bookkeeper and accountant. Our bookkeeper uses a platform called Xero. It seems to be really. I just just whatever they used to because I keep a weekly report, but the bookkeeper does my profit and loss, does my statement, sends me a report weekly. And then the accountant submits all of my reports for me as well. So the company does a quarterly BAS statement for GST in Australia. If you're in the UK, it's VAT, value add tax as well. We have 10% in Australia. What do you guys have in New Zealand? 15 or 20%? I think it's 20% in New Zealand. And obviously in the UK, you guys have 15%. Some of the countries have it as well. But that's the basic process that I use. Just to go a little bit deeper, here is one of the things, whether you go to a Tony Robbins training, whether you go to T. Harv Eker training, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, you go to any of these guys that talk about creating financial freedom, they all have some kind of jar system or bank account system where they automate the finances. So I personally have 7 bank accounts. That's what I personally do, main bank accounts. And again, I'm just here to share what I do. You can take from what you will. I want to inspire you. Okay, and then I'm going to share some examples that you might choose as well. We've got a bunch of people joining on Facebook. Felicia, Glenn, hey guys, how you doing? Michelle, 20 here. Whoa, really? Wow, that's crazy. There's ways around that as well. We'll talk about that around GST. Actually, I'll work around for GST, Terry. If you're in a country where there's GST or that, if at least 2/3 of your clients are not in your country, international. So we have clients in 19, 20 countries actually right now. We're Germany now. We have clients in 20 countries on the books. So that means, and so I can tell you that last month, 67% of our client base was international. So that was not subject to GST. If it was, that would be a big difference in VAT or GST, right? Taxes. So this is why I would encourage coaches to have at least half of your clients outside of your own country that have GST or VAT. It will save you a lot of taxes, right? I worked it out the hard way in the beginning. So here is my personal bank account system, and so I have a company account. Remember, I don't personally use a credit card, and if a credit card's holding you, if you've got money, keep it. You don't want to buy property, keep it. It's not. But if it's an issue, and it probably is for 99% of you, I would encourage you to cut it up. Again, this is my opinion here. That's just my experience with people and their mindset around it. So I have a company account, has some bank accounts linked to a direct debit. Okay, I get paid every week into that, and that debit card is used to pay all of our business expenses. Pay myself a wage each week into my personal account. Again, I don't have a credit card, I have a direct debit card linked to it. So I can pay for business expenses online. I can book the movies online or buy clothes online, right? Nice and simple. Now this is where it gets fun, and I love who loves to watch stuff grow? Do you guys like to watch stuff grow? And I love to watch stuff grow. Do you like to watch stuff grow, Terry? Especially when it has a dollar sign on it, right? But we love to see our followers grow. We love to see our impact grow. We love to see our bank accounts grow. It's just fun. And Robert Kiyosaki bought a game out 20 odd years ago called Cash Flow Quadrant. Guys, go buy that. Do yourself a favor. Go buy the game Cash Flow Quadrant. Play it with the kids if you've got them. It's bloody brilliant. You will realize that money can be fun, and if you play it like a game, you're playing to win. And most people just are not, because we went to school and we're taught to get good grades and go get a just on broke job and spend 40 years working 40 hours a week, but help someone else become rich, then retire and push amount of money we could barely afford to live in the first place. You used to get a watch, you don't even get the watch anymore, Terry, and then you die. You know, the average male in Australia dies within 5 to 7 years of retiring. It's pretty similar in America. And in America, do you know almost 2/3 of men over 50 die on a Monday? Did you know that, guys, in America? So what do they call it? What is it? Dissatisfaction, they call it. You're here because you want to create freedom. If you want to create freedom, remove yourself from the process. So I encourage everybody to have at least one investment account, and because we're also taught to save. Who was taught to save? But what's the problem with savings? Like my parents, if they had like, what was it? They had like 12%, 16%, 18% interest rates on their savings. What do we have now? 1%, 2%, 3%. I think even GST offset accounts are barely 6% anymore. I think, Terry, something like that. Tax offset accounts, and you can't touch them for like a year, but it's a GST offset account. How does that work? It's just crazy, right? And we know what's happening with inflation, and if you guys are keeping up with what's happening with the BRIC countries, BRIC countries, don't know what that is, Google it. Things are happening in the economy right now as we move into a digital age. So we don't just need, actually, that's another conversation. But something that you might not be aware of that's happening is obviously the United States have a exclusive contract with Saudi Arabia on their oil, which is part of the reason why they're one of the powerhouse in the economy. But Saudi Arabia are currently in negotiations with other countries as part of the BRIC countries for that to change. There's going to be a lot of it's going to be a very erratic 3, 4, 5 years. And I don't use FOMO. I don't believe in using fear to drive and motivate people, but there's a lot that's going to happen next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. The US, US, you guys have another election next year. I'm not going to mention the name Trump, or I just did. So it's really important that you take control of your own finances and start to get ahead. Because the awesome thing is that in those recessions, in those times, that's also a great time for people that have cash flow or have equity to get ahead. So I believe everybody wants to have an investment account. I personally have 3. So I put money into a property account each week, because my plan next year is to start building a property portfolio. I have a crypto and NFT portfolio, quite a big one actually. So I want to have a digital portfolio. I want to have a property portfolio, digital portfolio, And I actually have a shares account. I have actually a portfolio of shares. I've been working on that for years. But I don't buy individual shares personally. If you ever read Money Master the Game by Tony Robbins, I kind of use a similar process there. I put money into the ASX, or in America, you guys call them S&Ps, right? If you don't know what that is, again, I'm not here to teach you. I'm just sharing what I personally do. If you look at the ASX 50, this is the top 50 companies on the share market that you guys in America call the stock market right now, similar to S&Ps, S&P 50s, S&P, etc. Right? So I just buy indices, and it's a long-term strategy. And it's just a diversity between the investments. Now, I'm not an expert in any of those three fields. I don't claim to be. It's just something that I personally do, and I've taken the time to learn, and I do it very methodically in a way where I don't lose money. Right. But at this stage, if you're not putting money aside to invest, notice I haven't put a savings account here, because if you're putting money aside to save and it's sitting in the bank, that's dead money. Now, if you're saving to invest in something like property, 100%, but I truly believe everybody should be putting something aside to invest each week. But Jace, what do I invest in? Take the time later to work it out. You need money to invest first, and it gives you time to learn. I have a SIX account called my travel and bucket list account. Yeah, it's my favorite account, which is for fun and celebration. I've just booked 4 nights at a Mingle Beach Resort in Darwin in 3 weeks. Like $5 grand for 4 nights. It's crazy, but it's beautiful, and I'll get to spend a couple of days by the pool, different cocktails, and just recharge and get rid of all of the cortisol from my body and come back and with a cleansed nervous system. And the 7th account is I have a GST offset account or a tax account. That's what I personally do. Jace, that's a lot. I'm just getting started. Do I need 7 accounts? No. I just realized I didn't put the slides in here. Okay, lucky I have my notes. You know what? I missed a slide. How's that? I never miss slides. That is awesome. Okay, I'm going to share my screen and I'll just verbally tell you I'm going to stop sharing rather. I'm going to verbally share with you. So there's meant to be another slide in here. See, I'm only human. And I want to share with you what I would suggest for you guys. Let me just get my notes. My suggestion for you guys, actually, you know what I do? I'll just go raw. I'll just show you my notes. Okay. I'm pretty transparent about things. So here is my map. This is my strategy for creating a webinar. I'm pretty open about things. Guess when I created these slides, Terry? The webinar started at 8. Do you know what time you know what time it started? 6:15 a.m. Because if you really know what you're talking about, you shouldn't need much prep time anyway. So you guys should see here, this part here, because I want you to see this. So this is the part here that's meant to be on the slides. Okay, so let me explain this. So our goal, Terry, Lisa, Bianca, myself, our goal with quantum business coaching is to get you guys to minimum 20,000 a week, which is 250,000 a year. Terry would probably agree that 250K is the new 6 figures. $2,000 a week is not a lot of money. 2,000 a week sounds good, but gross, if you're making $2,000 a week in your coaching business, which sounds cool, once you pay your expenses, your taxes, your bills, and everything else, your car and your food, what are you left with? A couple $100 each week? You buy some clothes, you go out on the weekend, you buy your partner something, you have some dinner, you got nothing left. So the minimum target goal is for everyone to make 5,000 a week consistent income or 20,000 a month consistent income. So those in the coaching program, this is what I would suggest for you as an example. You want to work out a percentage that works for you, and I suggest 4 bank accounts. Again, I'm not an expert here. This is just something we find works really well, and it's about the habits. So let's say you're making $5,000 a week. Okay, you have your company or your business account, and we want to allocate about 20% to your business expenses, about $1,000 a week. At this stage, you're probably not going to have like a lot of staff. You might have a VA or something, maybe a coach, etc., but not a huge amount of online business expenses, give or take. It might be 25%, all right? But it's a rough idea. Okay, then you pay yourself a wage. It's probably going to be about 40%, 2,000. You're going to pay yourself a wage from that. Okay, and that's your living expenses, your life, and so forth. Okay, this actually could decrease. It could be 30 and 30%. This is just an example. This isn't what I'm suggesting to do. You've got to work out your percentage because you create it by reverse engineering it and then creating a plan. You might put 20% into tax. Okay, if you do this in the right way, you're not paying any income tax, so that will be GST or VAT anyway. If you have a business run a company, you will definitely be paying income tax. So that we find is normally plenty, especially in the first 2 years. Taxes seem to be, we kind of get that cruisy couple of years, Terry, will tell you. And then 20% into savings slash investing. $1,000 a week into investing. Now, if you did that for a year, I mean, this is what we did with Lisa. What did you save in a year? 30 grand or something? You bought a property. So Lisa's got, I think you already got 3 properties or something now, 3 or 4. So we put a plan together with Lisa a couple of years ago. She has certain income streams that goes into a property investing account. I think it was 30 grand something one year, I think you saved. Just saving 30 to 50 grand a year for property. And you work with the right people. Oh my goodness. Yeah, imagine that in 5 to 10 years. So this is an example. So what I suggest is you set up your direct debit, bulk of your income comes through $5,000 a week into your business account. You have a direct debit card on your business account and your personal account. You pay yourself a wage. It's all tidy. One main income into your bank business account, one main into your personal account. Put your taxes aside. Now these 3, see how they're yellow? Actually worked out okay. Are automated. So what you guys need to do is set up an automatic debit to pay your wage each week, the tax each week every Thursday, and investing. And as your income increases, you increase the automatic debit. And if you automate this, it'll make a huge difference. Okay. So I would suggest that the 4 main bank accounts that everybody sets up. And Jace, dude, I'm making $500. I got $50 left at the end of the day. Okay, great. Put $10 into saving. Yeah, $10 into investing, $10 into just get the habit going. Heck, $1 a week, just set up the automatic debit and create the habit. It's not about the amount, it's about the habit. Is this info, by the way? Does that help? Cool. One last main slide, and then we're going to bring Terry on board as well. And we're going to talk about how to begin to track. So who's heard of Warren Buffett before? You guys heard of Warren Buffett? Worth about $80 billion. His largest company is actually called Geico. It's an insurance company. He's got $80 billion cash. You know, Terry, he's got $80 billion cash in that account. 80 billion cash in a bank account. Because as an insurance company, you have to keep a certain percentage of surplus in a bank account in case you get hit with a massive claim. So I think it's 80% or 60%. I don't remember the exact amount. Similar to a charity. So he runs an insurance company called Geico, and he's got like 80 billion. Anyway, he's got 80 different. He loves the number 80. 80 CEOs that report to him monthly, things a month, 20 a week with those CEOs. Half of them are billionaires himself. And guess what? Warren Buffett, up until the last couple of years, was the wealthiest man alive because of these guys like Elon Musk and Bezos, and these guys are doing. Guess what he spends 5 hours a day on? 5 hours a day reading financial reports. First of all, I think that's boring as hell, but he loves it. Good on him, and he's a lot more wealthy than I am. But the fact that one of the wealthiest men alive does that just proves how important tracking and financial literacy is. There's 4 main reports that Warren Buffett and every main business in the world uses without exception. That is a cash flow projections, which is a forecast of your income, a budget, which is a forecast of your expenses. So the top 2 here, quadrants, this is a forecast. And you can imagine balancing your books in advance. I've got everything in advance 3 months. I can show you our income. I can show you our income for the rest of the year and expenses for the rest of the year. I can show you my events for the rest of the year. I've mapped everything out a year in advance. My financials, I keep like snick at least 3 months in advance. And then what we do is we track the actual income and expenses on a profit and loss statement, which is our actual income versus actual expenses. Hey, we stuck to our budget really well. Oh, hey, we made more money than we projected. Awesome. And then so the profit and loss statement for cash flow. And the most important one for creating wealth down is your balance sheet, which is ideally assets versus liabilities. What I do, I've got 4 examples here. I just really want to quickly touch on these, and I want to bring Terry on and get her to share some gold nuggets with you guys. But I've got some examples here. Okay, now it doesn't really matter how you do these spreadsheets, software, CRM, hopefully not a piece of paper. It's just that important that you do them. I want to start with my favorite, which is cash flow projections. Okay, to give an example, how I suggest coaches do this, and this is how I personally do this. Now, by the way, for those in our business coaching program, who's on here? Aldwin's in the business coaching program. Glenn is. Lisa is. Hey, Laurie, how you doing? Crystal, you can use. By the way, you can use this stuff in your personal life, 100%. Michelle's on the program. Nicholas, brother, good to see you here. Nicholas in the program. Jeremiah's on board. Stacey as well, Terry. For those in the group or the one-on business coaching program, we'll help you set this stuff up. But let's say you've got 5 clients, all right? You've got 5 coaching clients. Okay. We'll put their name in here. Tom, Tiffany. Hey, my sister's Tiffany. I'll actually put her full. There's my sister. All right, cool. I put my mum in there as well, eh? That's my family there. So I've got 5 active current clients, and they're all on direct debit, and they pay $99 a week. And what I can do is I can forecast the income each week in advance. Now, in a smaller business, it's not quite as important, but when your business gets bigger, it is. And if this is up to date and kept up to date daily, we sign 2 or 3 clients every day. I have this spreadsheet, even when you've got hundreds, we use this. Now, once you've got 100, 200 clients, using a CRM or a software would definitely be better. But this is, again, for you guys that are just starting out. Small business, not making 20,000. Once you're making 20, 30, 40, 40, 50,000, definitely 100,000, you can look at software, CRMs, whatever. But I just want to get the ball rolling, create the habit. So I can now see that each week for the next 12 weeks, I've got 495 coming through. So then what I want to do with my clients in here, now this is my guaranteed income. This is not my predicted sales. We're going to make 5 sales. This is the income. This is my actual income. The internet's unstable. That's awesome. By the way, can you see my projection spreadsheet? I'm hoping you guys can see it. Oh, you can. So then what we do is then we use the spreadsheet that we know we should all be using, which is our budget. So our budget is a forecast of our predicted expenses in advance. Okay. Now, people ask me this question all the time. Well, let me answer the question with a question. If you have 2 businesses, how many tax returns do you do? It's not a trick question. If you have 2 businesses, how many tax you do 2? Okay. If you have 3 businesses, how many tax returns? 3. If you have a business that's registered as a sole trader, how many tax returns do you do? Do you guys know? 1. So however many tax returns you do is how many I would have. So for example, I have a company that has its own tax return, and I have a personal tax return. So I have a personal budget and I have a business. For those that are sole traders, not registered company, just to make your life easier for now, just to get the habit going, I would just have it combined. And you can, if you wanted to, you can kind of mark out somehow your business versus personal, okay? I would just keep your life easier, because if you haven't created the habit yet and you start trying to track 2, you're just going to make your life more complex, right? So you can map out, okay, well, I pay $500 a month for my car, so I put that in here every 4 weeks. It's what you pay on the actual week. So if your car is $500 a month, you don't put $125 each week, you put in what it actually comes out. Your rent and mortgage is definitely not $300. That's probably like 10 grand now a week. My goodness, rent and mortgage is insane. What's going on with it? Okay, so you put that in here, all right? We map it out as an example. This is an example. I'm going to send you guys these basic sheets to get started. There's better ways to do this. It's just about creating a habit. Food, well, for me, my food is $300 a week, right? My food was $300 a week. Put that in here, and then you put your business expenses in here as well. So you put in here, okay, you put in here the business coaching, put in here your virtual assistant, okay. But then what you do is at the bottom here, it shows you your total expenses. You can head over to your projections and put your actual income in here, and you can balance your income versus expenses in advance. Who would sleep better at night if you had that done? Would you guys sleep better at night? Now, it doesn't matter if you use a spreadsheet, a CRM, or a different platform. It's about the awareness. Any questions so far? You guys ready for Terry? I'm ready for Terry. Sure. Hey, how you doing? Kerry, I've been doing this money breakdown for years. Huge difference in knowing what your money is doing for you. Yeah, awareness. Julie, so many changes coming. Felicia, hello. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so once we forecast those in advance, we then track it through a profit and loss statement. Here's a very basic profit and loss statement mapped out monthly. Projections we keep up to date daily every time we send a client. Budget we keep up to date weekly. And a profit and loss statement we do monthly. Now, if you have a bookkeeper, they'll actually do this for you. But Terry, I still do this myself once a month because I just like to do it. It gives me a sense of awareness on a neurological level rather than just someone sending me a report. It only takes me half an hour to an hour once a month, and I do it myself. I just like to see it and like to do it. Doesn't take me long. So up here you have your actual income. Well, I've got a job still. I'm still, I've got to pay the bills. That's 500 a week. I made 500 weeks. I made 2,000 for the month of July. My business income was 2,000. If you're doing MLM or other, okay, so my income for that month was 4,000. Now, this is really important. Your profit and loss is for business only. And then your expenses are things you can claim on tax. So this is a report of your actual income and your actual expenses. And then you have your gross profit, your net profit. I'll put a section in here for those that take drawings. Excuse me. So that's an example of profit loss. I'm going to send these to you guys anyway. And if you're in the coaching program, we're going to help you. And then the final one is a balance sheet. A balance sheet is essentially assets versus liabilities. But as Terry will agree and tell you, how many people are how many people are in the red? More people are in the red than the black, right? So I don't think it's necessary tracking assets if you're in the red. So I do this a little bit different. This is an example of a balance sheet that we use. We track income up here, all of our income up here, which yes, it's in the profit and loss statement, I know. We track our expenses, but the amount outstanding, okay? And then what we do is we track how much is in each of our accounts. And then while working out our equity net worth, I work out our cash net worth. What do I mean by that? So let's say that, for the month of March, for the first week of March, let's say I make the $5,000, okay, and I've got, $2,000 owing on my personal loan, okay, I've got, 12 grand owing on my car loan, and I've got 56,000 on my mortgage, right? So I work out my total debt. I want to be aware of what my debts are. I'm not focusing on my debts. There's a difference between focus and awareness. And most people end up with financial cancer because they're not aware of what's happening with their finances. It's like men. Then they have terrible lifestyle choices and then they have a heart attack, wake up one day, go, shit, okay, I should probably do something about that. So unfortunately, what people do with their finances as well, right? So you can, okay, well, I'm in $100 debt. How much is in my business account? I got 2 grand. How much is in my everyday account? My savings account, I might have $1 grand. How much is in my tax account? I might have 2 grand. And maybe in a property account, I got like 30 grand. So this is how much liquid cash I have access to. And then I can work out here, I'm 135,000 in the red. Okay, if that makes sense. In the negative. So I want to get my debts paid off, but I also want to get ahead. So we do that a little bit different, Terry and guys. We track that different, but ideally in the future, it's your assets versus liabilities. That's what that would be. So any questions on that, guys? At the very least, I would start the habit of using the projections, the budget, and the profit and loss and start with those 3. And I'm going to send you some spreadsheets you guys can use if you want to get the ball rolling. And again, it doesn't matter what format you use. So I'm sure you guys have heard enough of my voice. So let's bring on our very special guest. Oh, and this is very helpful. Thank you, Jason. Yeah, again, we're keeping it very basic. This is the fundamentals. But we're very blessed to have a very special guest with us. This amazing woman has been in the coaching space for 20 years, has a background in bookkeeping and finances, actually worked as a bookkeeper for some time, so understands bookkeeping and the book smarts of this better than I do, is an NLP master practitioner, and was an action coach, accredited action coach, which is the largest business coaching company in the world. He specializes in helping business coaches build a 7-figure plus, as a 7-figure coach herself, and is a Telstra Business Awards judge, which is like the highest pinnacle achievement that essentially any business coach in Australia can achieve, and is now an international quantum business coach with us, working and helping online coaches, consultants, agency owners all across the globe build a multiple 7 figures. Going to be working our 7-figure program, and I'm going to bring this amazing woman on to share some gold nuggets and go a little bit deeper around financial SOPs. Without further ado, Terry Vincent in the house. Hey, Terry, how are you?
I'm great, Jason. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to leave these guys in your capable hands.
Beautiful. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, everyone, for taking your time to come and learn about your finances. I just want to share with you, I do have a background in bookkeeping. That's how I started off in my career, was as a bookkeeper. It was something my father said, you should do this, because he was very analytical and very good with numbers. At the time, I loved getting pocket money, and no matter what it was, or having a job and spending the money. That was about as far as my finances went at that time. But long story short, I listened to him. I went into that side of the financial side as a career. And I even ended up, when I ended up going to university, studying like 6 units of accounting as well. Numbers were not my favorite, but it was something that I knew were important. And my father always preached it, even though it appeared in my family, and some of you will relate to this, it appeared in my family there was no money, until my father passed away to find out he had invested $200,000 and it was sitting there in an investment account, but he did not teach us how to manage money. So I had to learn it for myself, and the hard way. So for all of you, what I want to say, the biggest thing that's going to make the biggest difference moving forward is what Jason has already covered, which is the way you think about money. So I had this belief, as my story is, that money comes in and you spend it. So there is money flow. Money flows in, money flows out, but it was flowing in and out at the same speed. Whereas the way that Jason set it up, which is 100% correct, is that we do need that flow into other places. We need that flow into accounts, into investments, into paying ourselves. You know, this is one of the biggest things I've seen as a business coach, is having business owners taking the scraps under the table like a dog, whereas whatever's left I'll get for myself, instead of looking at the importance of being an entrepreneur that thinks I pay myself and then I have got more to give to others as well. So if you can think of money as not a way to survive, but if you can think of money as a way to thrive. So I wanted to share that first, because your money mindset is going to be the differentiator as to how far you go with your finances. Now, one thing that I have never, ever, ever stopped doing, I've continued the whole way through since I was a bookkeeper, is always my cash flow. Cash is king. So many of you will be thinking this. I know how much is in my bank account, and therefore you look at your bank account and then you say, wow, that's how much I've got in my bank, be it as a business owner, be it your personal account, whatever it is. Some people are actually operating out of the same account. So you do need those separate, but knowing what's in your bank account and having the foresight to know what's coming up, which is your projections, is really, really important. So where Jason showed, not Jason, sounds like Sean Connery, where Jason shared with you the cash flow and budget, I actually have one that works together. So my cash flow and budget are one document. It's 3 sheets on the same template, and it's got a summary page. And I have used that same format. Jason's way is the real way for you to get that awareness. Mine's just because I know how to do this so well, and I created it for myself. Knowing your cash flow is the most important, because knowing your other, like profit and loss, your income and expenses, and your balance sheet, which I will talk a little bit about from a personal perspective, is super, super important. And this is when you need an accountant, because they can share where they see these gaps in your game and be able to help you see, well, we can actually look at this expense, and what if we were to reduce, what if we were to go to a different telco for your telephone services? There's always ways that an accountant can support that. In the beginning, you can do that yourself very basically, but your cash flow is what is going to give you your survival to thriving. So we start off just saying, like Jason said, here's the exact money that's coming into our account every week. I actually have also taught in the past, what if we were to increase this by 10% every month? So what if this is what it is now, and we're going to have a 10% increase or a 20% or whatever you want to put on it. So we're projecting an increase in that cash flow. Therefore, we are then ending up with more cash surplus at the end, because we're not increasing our expenses. We're just increasing our income, our cash coming into our account, which is our income as well. So having something basic like this is important. I do have separate for personal and for business, because I do want to know where my business is at from a cash flow perspective. I also want to know where my personal is at, and also investments and stuff like that. If they're producing, that all goes into my personal portfolio and my cash flow. So having these is important. Now, what I want to share, probably the biggest insight, and Jason's already touched on this, is to treat your personal finances like a business. And this is where a lot go wrong. It's like, okay, you know, I have got that $500 a week surplus in my personal spending. And what I actually do recommend is that if you've allocated a certain amount of money for spending for personal, which is like, that's the part that you know you've got to spend, then you spend it. That's not about saving that money. That's the money you've got to spend. That way, you know that particular account is for spending, and you're not tempted to go and spend from the other accounts. So if you're going to put $500 a week into a spending account, find ways to spend $500. That's not your savings. That is your spending account. That's treating your personal finances like a business as well. Because saying, like we do in our business, we have marketing budgets. We have budgets for different things. So let's just say we've got a marketing budget. Our goal is to spend that marketing budget on things that is going to help our business grow. We do the same in our personal, knowing that's our spending account, which is separate from our investing account and any other accounts that we may have set up in our buckets that we've got, or our jars that we've got. You will also look at your personal as a profit and loss. You will also look at your personal as a balance sheet. So the same way that Jason has set it up, where you've got your business, you do this for your personal as well. If we can think first and foremost of us personally as being a business financially, then our business will flow a lot easier for us. So the habits are the most important. And Jason has touched on this, and this is something that as coaches, we will be supporting you through this journey continually to make sure you're keeping these habits. Financial habits in my world, even though I'll be honest with you, numbers I love, they're not my favorite thing to go and do every week. It's something I do out of a habit. Why? I'm more that coach that loves getting on calls with my clients. I love what I do. I love solving problems. I love supporting my market. Numbers are not my favorite thing, but I have such an amazing habit of measuring them and having these as key to me. Every Monday is my numbers day. You need to create a habit of that. So I really want to emphasize the things that are the most important, creating habits. So making sure your mindset is right. Money flows, make sure it is flowing in the right direction. And the third one is treat your personal finances like a business as well. Don't look at them as like, that's okay, that's personal, it doesn't matter. If I've got 100,000, what I do is what I do. The way to grow your wealth is a lot determined by your personal beliefs around money in your personal account. So Jason, I wanted to share those things because I think that's, from my experience, the biggest challenge that a lot have had is looking at it like it's my personal is my personal and my personal is not a business. So I hope that has helped. It's just some key tips that can support you, but obviously being one of Jason's coaches, I'm here to support you further as we move forward as well. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you so much for those wise words of wisdom. The thing that really penetrated my mind and stuck there and really thinking about now is that money flows. And I think we forget that, because here's the thing. If we all logged into WebJet right now last minute and looked at a flight, it would be a different price for everyone. We logged into crypto, it would be a different price for everyone. We all looked at our own shares, it would be a different price for everyone. If you look at money on your bank account, it's right now constantly in flow of being influenced by inflation or interest, both. Everything is in flux. Money is circulating. Even cash is still circulating for now. Money flows. It's not stagnant. Money's like a shark. When it stops swimming, it dies. I just made it up. It just sounds So money exists as energy and in constant flow. The question is, where is it flowing? I freaking love that, Terry. I think I'm not sure people realize how profound and how important that is. Because money is flowing no matter what. The question is, where is it flowing? You know, these affirmations, money flows to me easily and effortlessly. We say these things, but do we believe it? And are we doing not just the law of attraction and manifestation, but the law of action and doing the work? We're giving you the external factors that have it. So Terry, that was gold. And that's got me a little more obsessed about that as well. I'm kind of already obsessed about that money flow thing, because when people truly understand money is energy, money is a tool, it's constantly in flux and flow and circulation. And even before digital, all cash was always constantly in circulation and in flow. You can begin to do things you can control or influence at least the flow to you. So love that, love that, love that. So guys, we've given you plenty of information. Before we wrap this up, don't go anywhere. Have a ridiculous offer for 3 people. Again, thank you so much for Terry for that. How good was that, guys? Terry? How amazing was Terry, by the way? We're blessed to have Terry with us. Thank you so much again for those wise words of wisdom. Before you guys go anywhere, a quick question. What's been everyone's biggest takeaway from Terry? All right. My ego can handle it. All right. You can choose Terry. What has been your biggest takeaway? Or more importantly, what's the one strategy, habit, idea that you're going to implement immediately today or this week in your business or life? What's the one biggest takeaway strategy idea you're going to begin to implement immediately? That's the question. Lakeisha, whoa, here they come. Money flow through me freely. Old one, focus on growing cash flow, not reducing debt. We can do both, but you've got to find that balance for you. And I think it's different for everyone. Michelle, have a bank account. You have the money pots, and more importantly, automate the money pots. It's not about the amount. It could be $1. I remember doing a live seminar on this a while back, and the girl was like, she came here, you know, when Terry, you're speaking and there's that person in the crowd that gives you resistance. I had one of those. I'm like, okay, let's do it. And I'm like, I just said, she's like, I can't do this. I can't afford it. I'm like, all right, cool. You believe you can't afford it. How much can you afford? It's like, nothing. I'm like, can you do $1 this week? She said, yes. I'm like, let's create that right now, automate $1. And just get the habit going. So it's the only thing stopping us is the BS story. Why we tell ourselves we can't, right? Michelle, cut up credit cards. By the way, that's of your own accord. If you choose to do that, it's my opinion. It's one of those things I admit. It's my opinion. Aldrin just signed for QuickBooks. QuickBooks is actually really good. At least I have the money pots, but I need to set order. Yeah, order having the money pots without removing yourself from the money pots. It doesn't defeat the purpose, but it will not be as powerful. And we didn't talk about it today, but one of the most important components of wealth is compound. And automation is one of the keys to compounding. Lakeisha, be mindful and intentional. Michelle, use sage. Yeah, I've even got red blood, dragon blood sage as well. Yeah, and Palo Santo. So what now? We've given you this information, we've given you this content, but we all know knowledge without power. Sorry, knowledge without application. I've said it so many times. It's knowledge without application. Okay, it's about knowledge, applying the knowledge. That's where the power lies, right? Jesse, adding spreadsheets or adding spreadsheets to your online planner, Jesse, that'll be huge for you. Glenn, automation. Terry, takeaway strategies to work on spreadsheet. Okay, I'm just checking out Facebook. Julie Wood on Facebook says automation. So what now? First thing I would suggest is speak to an accountant about your structure and what's going to work best for you for your business and your goals, and think about what your goal is in a year. If you don't have the money for an accountant, find a bookkeeper. Get started with that. You don't have a bookkeeper? I'm going to send you these 4 basic sheets. They're very simple, very basic, just to get people started, Terry. I'm sure everyone can find something better. It's how can we do it in a real simple format to begin to create the habit. You just start with those, get some clients on, get a bookkeeper, then an accountant. Okay, and just start tracking everything. Number 3 is automate your accounts. Okay, so automate your tax account, your investment account, and the amount you're paying yourself each week. If you can automate that, at the very least, automate one account where you start putting some money aside on autopilot for investing for the future. Number 5, determine growth and sales goals. So you got to work out where you want your business to be in 6 months and 12 months, and then reverse engineer it. And that's how we do goals. Like, you should automate your cash. Awesome. Thanks for that, Terry. And determine investing goals. You know, when you get a little bit down the track, I'm not going to suggest getting a financial advisor because I'm not sure that's the best choice, but finding somebody that can help you with investing to learn from, I think would be important. Seeking some professional guidance of, okay, do I want to do property? Do I want to do something else, whatever it is? But for now, just create the habit of putting money aside and spend time daily improving your financial literacy. Cash flow quadrant for me was cash flow quadrant and his third one, the guide to investing. Those two, I didn't enjoy Rich Dad Poor Dad personally. It's my personal opinion. It was just too much fluff for me. But cash flow quadrant, the book and the game, phenomenal. Get the game, get the book, and get the part 3, which is the guide to investing, is really good as well. There's heaps of good books out there and audios. Start learning how to read financial statements, because one thing to have a statement is nothing to read it. And of course, guys, if you don't have a coach, guys, go get a coach. Even if it's not Terry or I or Lisa, heck, it makes no difference to me. We can handle it, Terry, right? If they don't choose us as a coach, just get yourself a bloody coach, whoever it is. We don't resonate with you, fine. Just get yourself a coach that will keep you accountable to doing this stuff. Because this stuff can, when you're making $500 a week, it's not very exciting, is it, Terry? But when it becomes 5,000 a week, 3,000 a week, trust me, the game becomes fun. Have you noticed why wealthy people call it the game of money? It's only the broke people that don't call it a game because they feel like they're losing, so they don't call it a game. It's like a war or it's a battle or something like. But most wealthy people look at it as a game. Cash flow quadrant, the game, is actually really cool. I'm a big fan of that, and of course, good old Moon. So, who would like it, guys? If we were to personally work with you to set all this up and personalize all this with you, who would like that if we were to do that? So we have a one-on-one business coaching program and a group business coaching program where we do that. And today, as we wrap this up, because we're done, I want to offer just 2 people only a ridiculous offer to join our next group business coaching program, where I'm the head coach. Terry, Lisa, and Bianca will be assistant coaches and be a part of this. Terry will be heavily involved in the group program on these way. I'm just letting Terry know now. She'll be a big part of these modules, the financial modules. We do the inner game and the outer game of money. But we have our next group business coaching program starting on June 6th. It's at this time. Tuesday, June 6th, just under 4 weeks. We're opening up just 25 spots to join our next group business coaching program, where we help you launch and build to 20,000 a month. And a big part of it is helping you raise your unconscious money blueprint and also set up the financial elements we just spoke about. This is only one of many facets. Here's what you get in the business coaching program, and this is only going to be available for 2 people today, so don't go anywhere. So you'll have a 1-hour group coaching session every week, every Tuesday, 8 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, which was this time, the exact same time. Okay. And it'll either be run by myself, Terry, Lisa, or Bianca, one of us 4 coaches. I will probably be doing at least 3/4 of the sessions, but it'll be all 4 of us. So you don't just get one, you get 4 coaches and an hour every week. We create a success blueprint which is the plan for your 6 months. And the goal is to show you how to launch and build to 20,000 a month. Who would like to add 20,000 a month to your business in the next 6 months? By show of hands, who would like that? Yeah, that's what this program is designed to do. I've been running this program for 13 years, taking thousands of people through it. It's the most well-refined program we have. We equip you with all the marketing plans and strategies you need to generate 50 to 100 leads per week. We help you refine your sales systems to get high conversions and book appointments and actually get clients on board every week. You get 24/7 access to the 4 coaches. So Terry, Bianca, and Lisa don't sleep. They stay up all night and they're ready for you. You get inner circle access. So we have a Facebook group. We actually connect with a running buddy. We have our current group running. We're in week 4. It's week 5 now. So we're in week 5. We're in our launch phase right now. We just did the inner game of money. How good was that, guys? And you get a couple of courses. You get 3 courses: my business course, social media course, and my coaches course as well. Lisa's good to go. Here's an outline of the program. Okay, we've already got 10 people in the program registered for this next course. We're only we're gonna probably cap it at 25. In the first session, we create your success blueprint. So we create your bucket list, success blueprint, business plan, and vision board for the 6 months, and we work on your mindset to get you to that 20,000 a month. We help you refine your avatar, messaging, pitch deck, sales SOPs, and your pre-qualifying system. So that way, when you do a proper launch, you're getting in front of more of the right people. And one of the biggest challenges is getting in front of more people. So we'll help you refine those systems. Now, in this 1-hour call that we spend together every week, we don't just give you the strategy and the tools and go off and do it. we will review it. I'll look at your pitch deck. I'll look at your avatar. I'll look at your scripts. I'll look at everything and we refine it and we do it together. Then we launch or relaunch. We have an amazing 5-step launch relaunch. The goal is to get you 5 clients from that. We'll help you optimize your social media and map out your content 30 days in advance. We'll help you launch your marketing events, challenges, webinars, masterclasses. We'll help you set up your funnels and offers. And then we get to the business and financial SOPs. So the stuff we spoke about today, we'll set up in depth your budget, your projections, cash flow, all of that stuff. We'll set all that up. Bank accounts, financial freedom planners, which we didn't touch on, and more. And who wants to launch group coaching? So whatever amount of one-on-one clients you want to get book solid with, we get to that, and then we launch group and get a couple of groups going. And then we look at team that you might need, VA, sales team, coaches. And we get to 20K a month. How different would your life be if in a month from now you're making 20,000, sorry, in 6 months from now you're making 20 grand every single month? How would that change your business? More importantly, your life or your family's life? How would things be different for you? You guys know if nothing changes, nothing changes. You do for the next 6 months what you did the last 6 months, what's your life going to look like? Exactly the same, right? So if you want something to change, then you've got to change. So how much do you think this program would normally be worth? How much do you think other people out there, that are at the point in business and life that I'm in, how much do you think these guys would be charging for a program like this 6-month program? What do you guys think? How much do you think on Facebook and Zoom? How much do you think people out there are charging for a program like this? What's the value of this program? Stacy, 5 to 10 grand. 10 to 15 grand, Terry says. Lakeisha, 20 grand. 20 grand a month sounds amazing. Let's do it, baby. But if you've never done it, you've never done it. We don't know what we don't know. The best way to get there is to find people that have done it many, many times and to work with them. It's not rocket science. I can tell you right now, I did my research that people that are at my level and have achieved the level of success I have are charging between 10 and 20,000. We're not going to charge 10 or 20,000. We're not even going to charge 5,000. In fact, for the first 2 people today only that send me a private message on Facebook, we're going to give you a 50% offer. Okay. It's normally upfront 4,497 Aussie, but the first 2 people today that private message me right now can get upfront Aussie 1997 for the entire 6 months. That's 1,100 quid if you're in the UK, or 1,350 USD. If you don't have access to that right now, you can do a payment plan, which is normally 199 a week over the 24 payment weeks. But right now, you can do it for just $99 a week. If you're in the US, it's 67. If I said to you, if you're in the US, for 67 USD a week, we can work together for 6 months, no other extra costs, to get you to 5,000 a week. Would you say it's worth it? So if you're in the UK, it's 55 quid per week. If you're in the US, it's 67. If you're in Euro, it's 690. If you're in Canada, it's 90. You've got to load the currencies. So the first 2 people only right now to private message me on Facebook and let me know you're in for the group coaching program. Just let me know if you want to do the payment plan, 99 a week, and I'll send you the details to get set up. You can get access to the pre-study right now. There's 3 things to start going through. You can start going through the course, setting it all up. We'll add you to the inner circle. We have a welcome letter and stuff as well. If you have access to the 1997 Aussie, just pay it up front, because then you don't have to worry about any other payments for 6 months. You get to work with 4 coaches, an hour a week in an inner circle, a small exclusive group, working on the inner game, the mindset, and the outer game of sales, marketing, business, team, and SOPs. And we even have a VA agency. So when you guys have VAs, your VAs will join the program, and we train them in how to do these marketing strategies, and we do it as a team. I don't know anyone else in the world that does that like that. So look, it makes no difference to me if you do it or not. We are going to book solid. But if you're still listening to me and you're not a coaching client in a one-on-one program or group program yet, simply be one of the first 2 people right now to private message me on Facebook. Jace, I'm in for group coaching. Let's just get out of the way and pay up front 1997. Don't have access to that, but you can. We can do the payment plan. We get you set up on that. Get access to the welcome letter and pre-study right now. And again, if nothing changes, nothing changes. All right. So, if you keep doing what you've been doing up until now, I am guaranteed to add 20K a month in the next 6 months. So if you are struggling or stuck or hit a bit of a plateau, and again, it's add 20,000. Let's say we only do half of that. We've got 50%, and you're making an extra 10 grand consistent a month. For most people, that's life changing. For a lot of people, unfortunately, 2,000 a month is life changing. Who has a job that you're still working, you'd like to be able to quit? You can do this in your part-time, so we can build the income so you can justify quitting your job, no stress, and do this full-time if that's your goal as well. This is designed to do that. Whether you have a new business or just starting out or you're established, this program will work for you because it's about refinement as well. So I want to take a moment to say thank you so much, Terry, for all you do. Terry is one of our one-on-one business coaches, working with people like Alden one-on-one. So is Lisa, so is Bianca. Guys, I really hope that you found value in this. If you registered on Zoom, you receive an email with the replay, the slides I'm sharing now, and also the spreadsheets, the 4 spreadsheets. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, send me a private message if you want access to the spreadsheets or anything, and I'll send them to you gladly as a thank you. And guys, if you don't have a coach, get a coach, honestly. Oh, Jay's only saying that because you sell coaching. Well, here's proof that I'll be transparent and authentic about that. Don't hire us. Go hire somebody else. Go work with somebody. Just work with somebody and go all in with that person that resonates with you, that company, that program, and just make a commitment to yourself to go all in. And remember, nothing changes, nothing changes. So guys, thank you for your time. We've gone way over. This will be uploaded to YouTube as well. And I'll speak to everybody soon. First 2 people right now, private message me. We'll get that 50% off deal. Act fast. They will go. They might already be gone. Thanks, guys.